Good afternoon, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of Quarantime. As always, I'm your host, RP. Joining me today, as always, is my co-host, M3, and then we have a special guest, none other than White Hat himself. We've got a ton of information to go over today. Of course, there are several new posts we're going to discuss first off. Then White Hat's been doing some homework. He's got his own special project. We're going to be talking about that. I think you guys are going to like it. Over 2,000 people here already, you guys. Please do us a favor. Help us out by liking and sharing this broadcast. It's going to be a good Friday. It already is. How about the fact that today is the 17th, and this is episode 17 of Quarantime? Didn't even do that on purpose. It just worked out that way because everything is perfect. I want to say hello to my mods. Of course, my lovely Real Red Pill girlfriend. All the Patriots here in the chat with us. My mom, Real Red Pill Mom 78. Oh, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We really appreciate it. Everyone, please do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. First of all, a big shout out to my brand new sponsor, the Foot Mouse. You're never going to believe it.
Introducing a revolution in gaming. Foot Mouse, the first science-based gaming mouse made for feet.
I've been using Foot Mouse since 2017, but not on land. There's a lot of controversy as to whether or not Foot Mouse should be termed illegal. It's just such a huge advantage, but it's still all about skill. Foot Mouse just raises the skill gap. It's a whole different level of play.
Foot Mouse, get your foot in the game.
No, that's not a real product. My actual sponsor is Raid Shadow Legends, the same sponsor I've had for the last several months. Forget everything you know about mobile gaming. Raid Shadow Legends is simply the best mobile game I've ever played. You can go for hours and never run out of things to do. The graphics are incredible. It's completely free to play, and the daily login rewards program gives you free stuff for your character, like gems, silver, and even a free legendary champion, Syl of the Drake. Plus, it's been increased from 90 to 180 days, so for the next 3 months, you get awesome stuff for your character just for logging in. You can find me under the name Marauder78, and if you're quick, you can join my clan. What are you waiting for? Go to the description below, click on the special link, and if you're a new player, you'll get 200,000 silver plus a free champion, Treefeller. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. Good luck, and I'll see you there. You can get these rewards for the next 30 days. How about that fake ad? I thought that was hilarious when they said that was how they wanted to do it. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Thank you to Methods. How are you today, brother?
Doing good, man. Excited. It's Friday,
I am
17th.
Hopefully we're going to get lots of good information today. Something tells me we are. White Hat, welcome to the show yet again, my friend. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. How's everybody doing out there? Great to be here on the 17th show.
Absolutely. Yeah, very, very excited about today. I need to say thank you to Sookie Boo. 17th show on the 17th. Happy Q Day, everyone. Hat tip to SoCali Conservative for pointing out the symbolism, and hey, Methods. Isaac Harned says, I don't think the naysayers will be quiet until the Q is asked. Hopefully soon. Jim PC says, woot, in for episode 17. Pegster6 has joined as a member. Thank you for that. And EO2 Dave says, it's interesting that after finding out that the majority of sealed cases are voter fraud, now it makes sense why so many people around the country can't understand how the totalitarians got elected. Did we get that information, guys? I haven't heard that.
Sometimes I learn things from the chat. Mm-hmm. didn't know that. Would love to see the sauce on it, but that's cool.
Bring it.
Cool idea.
Bring it, EO2 Dave. That is great. I mean, I can totally see that might be the case. I mean, I think those are the only ones that we've heard about so far, for sure. I mean, obviously there's some crimes against children, things about that nature that have come out. Lots of public corruption. there have been a lot of arrests in local areas, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, that immediately comes to mind, Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of other metropolitan areas that we end up getting some more public corruption cases. And like we were talking about the other day, I mean, we have the new prosecutor working under Durham from Pennsylvania who's probably going to be bringing stuff like that. Well, you guys want to get into these posts real quick so we can get that out of the way?
I'm good with that, man. Got a lot to talk about.
All right. So let's see. So first post of the day is a tweet from Lotus Oak 2, and it says, worth tracking. Let's take a look at that. And it looks like it says Dr. Stephen Smith, an infectious disease specialist, on using hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin combo to treat CV-19. It's an absolute game changer. I think this is the beginning of the end for the pandemic. I'm very serious. So not going to let this video play through because we've got a lot to talk about today, but I will drop this into the chat. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, you can go ahead and watch it yourself. Very nice. Then we have this post from POTUS. POTUS identified CV-19 cure back in March. Hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, I'm sure you guys all remember that, taken together have a real chance to be one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. The FDA has moved mountains. Thank you. Hopefully they will both. H works better with A, International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents. So POTUS pointing to the fact that we've had the knowledge that this stuff is effective for quite some time, and the fake news media trying to tell you that there's some, overriding danger about this in the use of this medicine, that somehow it would be possible that the dangers of this, using this cure, would outweigh the dangers of whatever the sickness entails innately. Then we have post 3978.
Well, before you go on to that, I mean, those things were already approved by the, they've already been in circulation. For them to come out now and be like, oh, it's dangerous to take. It's like, then why didn't you say anything before about this being a problem if you're such a journalist? But yeah, that's it.
I mean, also the fact that, there have been white papers for, over a decade on the effectiveness and the efficacy of using these treatments. This is not something new. The only thing that's new is that the press is decrying the fact that there could be something that could beat this. And they can't handle the idea that POTUS is, on top of all of these things, or that he would do or say anything that would help the American public. They have to immediately pretend that everything he does is not for the better of the American public.
Hey, Red Pill.
Yeah.
So I had a pharmacist friend of mine from Texas before this all got big, messaged me and said that they've had the meds in their pharmacies already, and the doctors were prepared to use it even before this all came public. So it's been in pharmacies everywhere for a long time. They've known about it.
Oh, totally. And then I also had, when Dr. Shiva was on, he said that, or maybe it wasn't Dr. Shiva, somebody else, another person said that they hand this stuff out like candy in India. It's well known, not only in America, but across the globe, that this is an excellent treatment. People don't need to worry about it. Just need to say thanks to Francis Schluss for joining as a member. Looney Tune says, I woke up to our favorite Anon a year ago. I woke up to our favorite Anon a year ago. My mom and I red-pilled each other over the Mandela effect. But can you answer me this question? Why is our favorite Anon saving Israel for last? Well, I definitely have theories about that. I would say that there is a great power center in that country, and it would be necessary to save it for last because of certain strategic reasons. What about you guys? What do you think about it?
Well, what I will say is that, I mean, since we understand, our favorite Anon and the mission that they're on is, cyber warfare, right?
Yep.
Information warfare and all that stuff. And, the whole Mossad aspect of Israel, that would be the war. Now, obviously there's more to it. We can get into speculation, probably do a whole series of shows on it.
Yeah.
Because of, the power structure over there and how it's been played into over here. But the short of it, saving them for last means the mission of how they want things to go, how to play out, dealing with Iran, dealing with, Venezuela, all these different things had to be planned out. Right. So having these things happen in order would probably equal to them having Israel for last on things we don't understand.
Right. And like you said, to the power structure, I mean, it is deeply ingrained in a certain way. The evil people there have set themselves up in such a manner that it is heresy for anybody to say that anything bad will be coming out of that region, in a particular way. So if you say that, this is no good, that, we shouldn't have people in our government that are also citizens of another country, well, that's the only country that happens from. And unfortunately, there are people who do really bad things and they take advantage of that. Let's see.
Any thoughts on that, White Hat, real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, if we look back to the election just previously, Netanyahu actually came out and even talked about how there's a big deep state presence in Israel. So I think when maybe the Q team speaks about going after Israel last, it's not who we think it is. They actually have their own deep state there, and I believe that's where we're headed.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that the deep state exists everywhere, and people have been kind of brainwashed to think that if you say that about a particular country, then that must mean that you hate the people of that country. But that is, as far from the truth as could possibly be. We're talking about removing this deep state power structure from every single country on the face of the earth, and like I said, for very particular strategic reasons, they're going there last. They want to clean the rest of the earth up. I believe that there is a very deep-seated root in that country, and we have to cut them off all across the globe before we can get there and take them out. MW says, keep it up. Stephanie Sprague says, could it be that people are hitting like and that this platform YouTube is not showing? It very well could be that. John Asturias says, back for another dose of the red pill. Check out my new handle at John X Asturias. My last one got nuked. Keep up the good fight, brothers. We'll do that. Thank you. Tony Oface says, Del Bigtree showed a timeline and Fauci did an HCQ study back in 2005. The deletions will be televised. Donna J. Berryhill says, when I got here today, I found that I had been unsubbed. Good thing I set my alarm. Love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. Yeah, I would just ask that everybody here checks their subscription. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have notifications, all notifications turned on, because that's the only way that you will be likely to get the notifications. Even if you choose all notifications, you probably will not get them all. Let's see. Roger Nelson says, hey guys, thanks for all you do. Enjoy the daily live shows. Sleepy Joe sat at home all day on Easter waiting for trick-or-treaters.
That's gold.
Yeah. Deborah Postuma says, I'm sure Governor Whitmer cheated to get elected. We have a Republican Congress and Senate in Michigan. No way she should have won. I agree with you there. Steve Dickman says, thoughts on Timothy Holmseth, Pentagon authorized reporter. I hate to say it, but I have looked into it, and I cannot verify the veracity of Timothy Holmseth as an authorized reporter for the Pentagon, or can I verify any of the things that he says. I know that probably is going to be controversial among certain people, but that is just me doing my digging, and I can't verify it. Let's see. Thrifty Guy McGee says, anyone get to read the FISA D-class Senator Graham released? Winning. We're going to go over it today. Judith H. says, my Dem New Mexico 2 rep won by late voting in 2016. There was a lot of that stuff going on in 2016. Bella Rito says, did my taxes yesterday to get my check. I paid $173 to the state, and my refund is $17,000. Colorado accepted it. We'll see if there's a direct deposit. Good for you. That's incredible. Navy Vet says, y'all need to peek the vid by QAnon Tron on YouTube. We'll take a look at it. EO2 Dave says, this was a theory floated last night, but it all seemed to click for me. How does a Republican state that has voted in a majority of Republicans wind up with a Democrat governor? Just a theory. I agree with you guys there. That something is definitely off. Gary G says, yesterday I asked if you can clone Trump. Today I want to ask about Dr. Buttar. Look up Dr. Buttar, April 15th live stream. He is coming to the front line for truth. Dr. Buttar and Dr. Shiva, where we go one, we go all. I have a video that someone sent over about Dr. Buttar, and I'm trying to get time to watch it today. Anna V, thank you for joining as a member. And John Asturias says, frogs need to always remember that the enemy gets a vote. Check your subs, likes, and notifications. They are fighting just as hard as we are. And Gaffer Anon, Dr. Hydra is a useful putz. Change my mind.
Gaffer, friend of the show. Real quick, I saw some people saying in the chat they want to know White Hat's Twitter. So I'm going to dump it here a few times in the chat.
Please.
So you guys go over there, follow him, harass him, say Method said hello, make him deal with it.
Yeah. So the next post is this POTUS in the way meme. In reality, they're not after me. They're after you. I'm just in the way. Love that. So very true. And then we have confirmation of the hydroxychloroquine or just rather chloroquine, as this post right here yesterday in that drop with the music says, clear your mind, heal, and then our favorite Anon and CHQ. I saw several people on Twitter sharing that yesterday. It's good to get confirmation about that. They have known about what's going to happen for a long time. I think they were well aware of this plan that is taking place right now, the deep state's plan to disrupt the world through the use of this sickness, and they knew that they were going to be able to combat it using this medicine. Next, we have that renegade meme, which shows the definition for renegade, a person who deserts and betrays an organization, country, or a set of principles. And some synonyms are traitor, defector, deserter, turncoat, rebel, and mutineer. And then finally, we have this tweet, which says, together we win, where we go one, we go all. Open it up. And this Anon, somebody that I follow, Staff Sergeant Paine, says, tomorrow, the 17th of April, is my birthday. My birthday wish is simple. Please send me your video of yourself, no matter what part of the world you are from, but please tell me, we are the world and we are watching. Where we go one, we go all. So I'm going to say it right now. We are the world and we are watching. Where we go one, we go all. Happy birthday, Staff Sergeant Paine. And then I'm going to go ahead and retweet it for him, too. And then we got this video here. Our favorite Anon chose someone at random to show the birthday message. Let's take a listen.
Los Angeles, California. Where we go one,
we go all.
Boom. Awesome sauce. Good stuff.
Another birthday present, right?
Yeah. Happy birthday. He's got
the whole world. Yeah, the whole world laser pointer to your Twitter account. That's great. And happy birthday to him, man. He's a great guy on Twitter.
Yes, he is, for sure. Let's see. Lynn Owens says, I absolutely love and appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for making a positive impact. Red Pills Warhawk says, rough day, went down the rabbit hole and found things I didn't want to find. As a father, I feel that prison will never be enough of a punishment. Castration by brick seems fitting. Yeah, quite honestly, it does. I've seen some horrible things doing research. Jess Kickett says, my first super chat. Just wanted to say hi. I just wanted to check in and say hi. Listening with S. Nelson 145 and the kids. Love you guys. Thanks for all you do. God bless y'all. Glad you're here. Hello to your family. Our Dr. D, a good friend of the program, says golden thread also equals three major religions. Center of conflict and control. Albert Pike set up for final conflict to destroy all and let Lucifer arise. Dale Bercier says, I ate chili. Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. And the dude has joined as a member. That let the dude abide. All right. Good stuff, guys. I appreciate all those. Thank you for being here. What do you guys say? Do you want to get into the information that White Hat wanted to talk about first?
Well, I say that we go over just the few of the things that have happened since yesterday.
Okay.
And because then we can have as much time as we want. Because we agreed today, if we have to go over, we'll go over today.
Yeah.
On time. So why don't we just go ahead and knock out the things that we know we want to, and then we'll turn White Hat loose.
All right. So we had a big declassification that began yesterday. We got declassified DOJ materials, a timeline of correspondence sent or received by Graham and committee, and corrective actions taken by the DOJ and FISA court. So Undercover Huber has done an incredible job breaking this down. I've got two just gigantic threads here. We've got some more information about Adam Schiff's counter memo to Nunes's memo. Just tons of information, guys, and many, many incredible disclosures that came as a result of it. And, George Papadopoulos saw this come out. He had some choice words. He is anxiously awaiting the release of everything, as we are. And he said Durham knows. Durham knows. So he's preparing us. I think that George Papadopoulos has had a lot of inside information this whole time because he was involved in it directly. He knew how much they were lying. Well, now it seems like he can actually talk about it.
Right. Yeah. And also I'll drop this Washington Examiner article that kind of just takes you to those documents as well. And I'm sure it's linked in there because Undercover Huber is awesome. Mm-hmm. But I want to, just for context and stuff like that. But, this does feel like, the FISA D-class start, right? Like it's bringing out the information that the Gaudis and the Jordans and everybody they were talking about this a while ago, saying once you see these documents, it's going to prove. So you have, the proof of stuff. We know that they lied before. We know that Durham's tying this all together. And the fact that we are now getting to read the documents, almost in full. They're very highly, they're not redacted. the fact that we're getting to see them, like we keep saying, is that they're so much further along in the investigation that they now can help the public understand, because it's going to have to be explained. That's why a lot of us are doing what we're doing, is to make sure that we explain these things along the way, because it's important.
Yeah. So, redacted Carter Page FISA documents and declassified George Papadopoulos transcripts. So, we've only gotten snippets of these things up until now, but now we've got a 35-page and a 171-page document to go through. So, hopefully, I encourage you guys all to take a look through the stuff and see what you can pull out. There's going to be much information that we're going to be needing to go over here in the coming days. I think we're probably going to get a lot of really juicy tidbits. Let's see. Meadow Dancer, wow, thanks for joining as a member. And Behold a Pale Horse says, this is great news. Let's go Durham. #Punisher. Very, very cool stuff, you guys. There's going to be a lot in here. Now, with regard to Durham knows, George Papadopoulos, he's talking about who sent the Clinton errand boy to meet with me in London. So I think this is the person he was talking about in that last unredacted portion that we got, right, Methods, where he said, like, they were the questions they were asking him, he realized that they were probably taking that information and going back to the clowns.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he picked up on the pattern. You could tell from the conversation, like, he picked up on the pattern of questioning, and now it was kind of leading him to get him to say whatever that they could then spin. Because that they were turning, mountains out of molehills, for, a Southern saying down here, that they were trying to find anything to then explode and justify it.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have this information come out, and another thing that Undercover Hubert does that's genius is that he shows the parallel of Schiff's memo that, if y'all remember back in, 2018, was the memo that was trying to counteract Nunes's memo, which had a bunch of truth in it.
Yeah.
And then he put that kind of side by side with what was being, shown to the public as of last night. And you could see how much Schiff was downplaying the use of the Steele dossier as much as possible. But then he also points out that there's literal quotes from the dossier in the FISA applications. They were quoting it verbatim. So it was used a lot.
Yeah.
And then the fact that we're proving it to not be true, we're at that point that we've been wanting to be at, because we're like, okay, the hands are in the cookie jar, and now everybody can see it.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing. The more that we get released, the more obviously it's going to be broadcast on the mainstream media, the more regular people's eyes are going to be on this stuff, and the more likely it is they're going to realize that this entire operation was a big lie from the very beginning. Absolutely necessary. John B., thanks for joining as a member. And then God's Daughter says, you three are my favorite tag team. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate you guys.
Speaking of which, White Hat, you got any 2 cents on that, man?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys really explained it well. I mean, I think I agree with the notion that here soon people are going to have to start talking about it. I don't think it's an accident that Nunes now has his own show coming out, his own podcast, and then you're going to start seeing Lindsey Graham, I think, come into the public view here soon. And then I suspect once this climaxes, you're going to see Pelosi and Schiff start doing some bullcrap investigations, but that's just a guess. But yeah, I mean, I tell you, it feels like the start. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. It really does. I mean, they've had this information for a minute, but like they say, Durham likes to set up his investigations, or his indictments, etc., like in a way that you won't be able to appeal. So. But yeah, I agree with you guys 100%. I think you're spot on.
We lost connection there for just a second, but it caught up. Let's see. Leanda Gooding says, any speculation regarding Obama's target in the much anticipated photo our favorite Anon has referenced? Which photo is that? The one that we just looked at?
It might be the photo of Obama and the spray. We're talking about the gun holding and all that stuff. Might be what they're referring to, but I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. Yeah, Leanda, if you can clarify, that would be great. Then Sue Randall says, Nunes' first interview with Laura Trump. Oh, that's good. Yeah, to your point, White Hat, I think you're spot on. Nunes is tactical in his thinking. The fact that his podcast is starting at the exact same time that we're starting to get D-Class, that's a big thing, and absolutely no coincidences there, because it's going to make it so that he can talk about this stuff on the air. He's not going to have to dance around it, like you were saying before, Methods, when he said, if you could read this, well, now we can read it, and we can see exactly what he has been seeing this entire time. It's very exciting.
Yeah, he kind of, you could see like him just like let out the breath when he was on with Hannity, and he's like, I've been wanting to talk about this for a year. And he finally, because now that it's redacted, that's why, like White Hat pointed out, the fact that it's unredacted now, Nunes can do the show. So the fact that he's starting it now, I'd love to hear him. I'd love to hear him not interrupted. I'd love for him to have more than 2 minutes on a show to talk. Imagine him just sitting there in his autistic glory that Nunes is, and get to hear him explain a lot of this stuff, because it needs to happen. So I look to see if other people are going to start doing this, like Rudy Giuliani's doing it and stuff like that. Yeah,
and just like from the Post, this had to be done by the book. They have followed the letter of the law every single time. And I know it's difficult for people because they're used to that not being the case here in America. They're used to watching literally a travesty of justice on a daily basis. People get railroaded, things get leaked selectively for the purpose of damaging one party or another. Now, here, it's been done, in a fairly calculated manner, and nothing has been leaked. Nothing has been selectively put out in order to damage stuff. They've been working on this to do it at the exact perfect time, because, we're seeing the staggered rollout, the drip, 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 and pretty soon I think we're going to get a full flood.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah. All right, so we also got Senators Grassley and Johnson demanding that Christopher Wray turn over all FBI records on Crossfire Hurricane. They actually sent a letter to him yesterday. What's important here is that the new revelations show that the FBI was fully aware. They were absolutely 100% crystal on the fact that the information they were using to get FISA warrants was faulty. And that's being generous, okay? Much of it was Russian disinformation. They purposefully left out exculpatory information, which would have not allowed them to get warrants on either Carter Page or to go after George Papadopoulos. So this is a really big deal. And something tells me that there's a big possibility that this could be the moment where we have been told, trust Ray. I mean, is he going to come through? I mean, what is you guys' thoughts on that?
White Hat, you can go first, and then I'll round up.
For me at this point, I don't have to trust Ray. For me, I think he's okay. I think he's just doing his job. He's kind of going through the motions, doing his thing. But for me, I don't have to trust him, because at this point, where it's at in the timeline of everything, I think it's information handling or information gathering that's going to happen, and the D-Class, it's inevitable. So I don't know that I need him to be anything other than not dirty.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, at this point, because it's being, pointedly requested, and we've had this slow drip, drip, drip rollout, if he stands in the way of this, it's going to really look bad for the FBI. It's going to look bad for him. I mean, do you anticipate him blocking this stuff, or do you think he's going to go along because he has to go along?
Yeah, I think he's going to go along. I do think he's on team. Mm-hmm. I don't see him doing anything nefarious. Everything, the timing has to be perfect, and this has all been forecasted, in my opinion. So, I don't think he'll be a roadblock.
Okay. Methods, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know I see a lot of people, not trust Ray, and that's fine. I mean, have your own opinion. Like I always try to say, I'm watching him. I'm going to see what happens. We're getting to that moment now to where he's having documents requested that are right in front of what's happening in real time. So I want to see what he does. I'm also going to, hold in the back of my head that he might very well just be a placeholder for somebody else, to do these things. He's been there during this time. Obviously, they needed this stuff to take this long. Now we're getting to the declassifying of information. Ray was now if Ray was told, shut your mouth, don't say anything, just wear the suit, do the job, and then we'll let you know when, good dog, sit boy, sit, then fine. That would make complete sense with what we've been seeing, right?
Yeah.
But if we get now to the point where it's like, okay, now even like Trump starts tweeting and saying, come on, Ray, quit dragging your feet, or any of these things start happening after a while, I'll agree with the majority of comments I see about him. But till that moment, there's got to be a reason, and I don't necessarily think it's nefarious like what White Hat said.
All right.
Hey guys, one real quick point though. I think what he's been doing for the last year or so is he's been, if we go point back and look at the Q post where they say, hey, look, a lot's been going on with getting rid of bad guys, bringing people in, finding out who the sleepers are. I think Ray, to be honest with you, has been doing a lot of administrative, shiz, getting people set up that need to be there in the FBI behind the scenes.
I mean, I absolutely agree. I think that, I've talked about this many times on the show before. Christopher Wray has cleaned up the FBI since coming in. I mean, he visited every single field office. I think that he's been largely focused on the administrative side, getting rid of any dirty laundry that they had there. And now he's got until April 30th to release this stuff. So, even if he is the one, even if he says that he doesn't want to release it, President Trump, it's in his purview to go ahead and remove him and put in a recess appointment, or, the temporary appointment until they get somebody through Congress. And then perhaps that person could do it. But as far as I'm concerned, up until this point, Christopher Wray has done the job that he was meant to do, which was to clean up the FBI and at least get them back on track. So, we'll see. He's got until the 30th. If he releases it, that's good for him. If he doesn't release it, I still think President Trump might come in and clean house and put somebody else in there for him.
Right. Well, he did forward everybody that was named in this investigation.
Yep.
Anybody that was named, he did forward them. He did say he did it to the oversight arm of the FBI for potential, prosecution or whatever word I'm thinking of, being punished, whatever. So he did do that. I'll agree with it to that point, but I would have loved to have, he comes across more as a beta than an alpha. I'd like to see him actually, go after stuff, but we'll see what happens.
Right. So Helena Obink, thank you for joining as a member and then upgrading. Love in Texas, thank you as well. And Looney Tune says, anyone else think that HRC is gonna suicide Google? Like, you mean she's gonna go after Google? Like, if she gets arrested, she's gonna give them up? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. What do you guys think?
Well, if we want to take our favorite Anon at his word, she already tried to make a deal. Right? If you remember that, they said no. I'm sure she's from. There's no allegiance in her body whatsoever when it comes to these people. I don't see it. I don't see it in a lot of them. Okay. But I think they're still trying to hold on to things.
All right. So let's see. Dale Bercier says, please share half of this with White Hat. I love this guy. I am former military and current faux government. No homo. All right, I gotcha. Julie D says, always great info and discussions. Appreciate all you do. Where we go one, we go all. Isaac Harned says, Nunes had multiple episodes already loaded on his site. I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, he's been, working behind the scenes for a long time. Doc Schrum says, Red Pill and Methods are the best tag team on the planet. Where we go one, we go all. Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it.
And then Hayden West says, there's a reason your channel attracts such great people. Your light draws in more light. Much love, friend. I appreciate that. And I agree with you there. I want to put out what I want to receive back. And that is positivity, light, and love. True Grit says, breaking Fox News, U.S. mounts full-scale probe to determine if CV-19 escaped Wuhan. Boom! That is amazing.
They said that they were going to investigate it. So what you're saying is that it's a breaking news. It's an official thing now. True Grit. Anybody, if you find any sauce on that, drop it in the chat or DM me on Twitter. I'll keep an eye on it.
Cough, cough, cough.
Yeah, tell us.
That's been in the works. So them announcing it is cool, but just remember the rule. We handle our business, and then we get together when it's the best time to reveal it to the public. So
totally.
Yeah, we there's actually been people there for a minute.
It makes sense, man. We get things last.
It's just, time for public disclosure. How cool. John Aster, I dropped the link to it in the chat, guys, if you want to check the article. And methods, I dropped it in our DM. John Asturia says, gunfire shot at mbest11x Chan on YouTube IG from the Millenons. Lots of one-eye symbolism and music collaborations with pedovores like Kesha and many others. Love your loyal U.S. military Anons. Thank you very much, John. Appreciate that, buddy. Appreciate you being here. Let's see.
But before we move on, we've got over 5,800 people here. I see 2.1 thousand likes on our side. If you guys don't mind clicking like, and also, my wife asked me to say this to everybody that hit up our PayPal yesterday. She just wants to say she loves all of you, and thank you so much for doing that. It means a lot to us for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you to everybody who did that yesterday. That's totally awesome. Oh, hey, and I completely forgot to add notes to the show, so let me just do that while I've got it in my mind. So the next thing that we had pulled up to share was President Trump's announcement yesterday. This ties right in with CV19. The announcement yesterday that there is a 3-phase planned rollout to reopen the country. And President Trump laid it out yesterday in his press conference. There are markers that each state has to hit in order to fully open up again. Luckily, there are several states that are already at that point. They're going to be able to open up almost immediately. And then, of course, we have people like Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, who is threatening to extend the lockdown as retaliation for what took place this week in Lansing, the capital city of Michigan. But this is great news from President Trump and his team. They're talking about opening the country without doing forced shots, if you know what I'm saying. So I think a lot of people can probably relax about that stuff. I don't think President Trump has that in him to force us to get medical care against our will. If anything, he's about freedom of choice. So, we're not going to go into that. He wants people to have medicine available to them if they decide they want to use it. But so far, he hasn't forced anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. But the Opening Up America Again plan includes those 3 phases. You've got to have the strict social distancing in phase 1. Gatherings of people more than 10 are to be avoided. In phase 2, people are encouraged to maximize social distancing, and then you can open gatherings up to 50 people. And then phase 3 is just fully life as normal again. White Hat, I'd like to get your opinion on what this phased rollout of Opening Up America means.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I think if it makes sense for the metros to stay a little bit on lockdown a little bit longer, and then you have these outskirts that have 0 issues or very small issues. Why not open for business to get the economy going? And then I think turning around and putting it on the governors is a smart strategic move. Because you got to think, he said, well, if the president said, well, if I wanted to do this, I could just make that decision. It's my decision. But then he turned around, and then now it's all on the governors. I think it's definitely a chess move. Mm-hmm. I wanted to also mention something. I've seen a lot of people afraid of when they do these press conferences and they talk about surveillance. Mm-hmm. So surveillance isn't what you're thinking. What some people are thinking. It's not surveillance isn't that you take a shot and then they know where you are. This crazy vaccination thing. It's not like that. What they do is they have surveillance for different things like Ebola. There's surveillance for groups that have had vaccines and stuff like the CDC takes care of that. But basically, it's just keeping an eye on outbreaks and there's more detailed explanation of that. But it's not surveillance. They're not talking about injecting you into something that can track you. But sorry to go on that rant, but I just want to make sure I get that point out there.
Yeah, I did see some people getting nervous about that. I mean, it's just literally tracking data that they're talking about. I mean, they're not talking about watching people and keeping track of who's gotten a shot or who hasn't gotten a shot. So thanks for putting that out there. But Methods, what do you think about the planned phased rollout of America opening again?
I mean, that's what we've been talking. We expect to happen, right? Because each state's in a different situation, and Trump's trying to keep things how it's supposed to be. The states are supposed to govern themselves, right? So if they need to do those things, it's fine in certain situations. And it's also kind of making those governors glow that are obviously on their own agendas, like in Michigan. And, Minnesota's having, protests right now, right? And Kentucky. They're having to deal with this, and it's a state level issue. So we're glad, and not to steal White Hat's point from before the show, but the fact that Trump, White Hat, what were you saying about that earlier? I want you to, because you had a good point.
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
About the tweets by Trump about liberating and how it was a good idea.
Yeah, it just, I was thinking it's just a battle cry. Now he has a battle cry against these states. Obviously he's not saying do anything stupid, but there's a battle cry, and we all can rally behind him, for a common cause. And I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, and I totally agree with to that point. Like that's why you saw, like, real quick when you watch things on like Twitter, when Trump says something and we're like, yeah, that's awesome. Go look and see what the lefties do to spin it, and they're saying he's inciting violence. No, but if you look at it, he's really just wanting the American people to take their country back in general and not allow these things to happen. You should be able to buy seeds. You should be able to, travel how you want to at your own risk and stuff like that. So the fact that these things are kind of happening and the rollout is going to help bring, America back online when it comes to, being open for business again.
And to White Hat's point, putting it in the hands of the governors is brilliant. He's telling America, you can open, okay? You guys are fine. Go ahead and do it. And he's, suggesting that they do it. And if it doesn't happen, it's going to be the governor's fault, okay? It's not going to be President Trump's fault, but we'll see how the press spins it. Looney Tune says that Tom Fitton subpoenaed HRC's emails from Google. So perhaps the information that is received from that will be a big boom. Sue Randall says, did you hear a rapper accusing he was actually a Disney child star, Orlando Brown? Yes, accusing Will Smith of probably the most heinous crime that can be possible. He's made multiple videos saying this. It is, we shared it the other day, or at least I shared it on Twitter. Let's see. Stephanie Sprague says, why has no one talked about all the homeless and how are they social distancing? Where are they all? Well, it has been talked about. There are certain metropolitan areas that are putting them up in, better tent cities, some of them in hotels in San Francisco, I heard. But yeah, I think by and large, they might not be social distancing.
And just to that point, I would not put it past any of them that are having these sanctuary cities and all this stuff to have them in place intentionally for this virus to be released.
Yep.
Because it basically creates your cesspool situation to where everybody spreads it to each other and they're on the streets and they don't care. Like the point, they're not social distancing. And I'm not trying to dog them either. Some of them just fall on hard times, make a few wrong choices, get addicted to something, and they're down that path. And, we need to pray for them in that aspect. But with that said, you could just see that we're kind of creating, these situations for it could just thrive. And to me, I wouldn't put it past them at all.
Yeah. Joy NA says, love your show and our Dr. D and Hulk and others united. Yep, all great people. Lydia Negrila says, I love you guys. It feels so empowering to have daily reports of what's happening on a daily basis. You can't find that anywhere else. Much love to you, your families, and all your followers and supporters. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you, Lydia. I think it's important. Yeah, I feel that what we're trying to do here is to compete with the daily mainstream news. I want to give people an alternative. This way, we give you fresh, brand new news every single day. We talk about important subjects. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are here with us. Dale Bercier says, Bongino interview with Solomon today was awesome proof that things are progressing. Don't lose faith, Patriots. Yeah, we were just talking about that before the show. Looking forward to watching. Susan Miller says, met a doctor yesterday who's been treating CV-19 in Utah, said it's just one marker different from HIV. His opinion is that it was introduced as a bio-you-know-what weapon. Gizmo Marie, thank you for joining as a member. Decepticon says, thanks RP, M3, and White Hat. RP, please respond to the email regarding where to send the piece. The address to send things is in the description of every single video. Just go ahead and send it right there. Richie Rich says, I think when the true numbers come out for this sickness, that will red pill people. Can't wait for that, Tom Fitton. Scott says Washington is also having a protest this weekend. Angel Morfan says, any truth to the rumor has it that M3 is doing research into Amanda Hug and Kiss. No, there's absolutely no truth.
Weak sauce, man.
So Cali conservative, so honored to be part of this amazing family of patriots. Love you all. Where we go on, we go all. Thank you, So Cali. Glad you're here too. Boliferous says, I'm praying for the three of you and all patriots doing such great work helping those in need. Red pill with love and kindness. Thank you for that. Verified user, do you all three agree on Nasara coming into play? I don't think that we have a unified opinion on that. We'll talk about it later. Patricia64 says, I mentioned Nasara yesterday and the 17th precedent. Another interesting dot to connect. There was a book written in 2005 about Nasara by Barnard, and the title is Draining the Swamp. I am familiar with that, and that is something that's pretty compelling. John Asturia says, White Hat, old question but curious. Any new intel on the LA chopper raid from last year?
No new intel, just a bunch of guesses.
Yeah,
just trying to make educated guesses between the three of us. We've chatted about it before, but nothing new.
Yeah. Kim Foxhoven says, love you guys. Thanks for following me on Twitter, M3. Todd Boo says, I wasn't sure about the Tom Hanks thing, but seeing Rita Wilson come out and poo-poo HCQ has me thinking. And Q-Wife Magalife says, sending you the money I saved on lipstick so far, since it's now obsolete. Masks suck. Thanks, all of you. All right, White Hat, I think it's time that we need to get into the information that you wanted to present, and I'm going to be getting those slides pulled up.
Yeah, real quick, everybody click that like button if you don't mind. We're going to hang out and get over this information as much as we can.
Yep. White Hat, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. Just to answer some of the people in the chat, I do not have a PayPal. I have to stay as insulated as possible. So I don't do a whole lot outside of what you see here. So any PayPal, any way to track me, in any way, I just don't do it. But I appreciate the sentiment, and thank you so much.
Yeah, you're already being paid to serve your country, and you got some great benefits, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. So yeah, I've got these slides pulled up. What are we talking about here, and what do you want me to show?
Okay. Well, there's a little bit of a delay here. Let me wait and see what you got pulled up.
Well, I don't have anything pulled up yet. I wanted you to get started, and then I was going to pull it up as you were talking.
Okay, cool. So basically, you guys, just to kind of give you a background, I had a meeting with a new person on my team. I'll try to be as vague as possible and be able to explain it at the same time. This person used to work under Admiral Rogers. And so we got to talking, and I brought up Q and brought up kind of what we do on the side. And well, he pointed me in a particular direction. He couldn't give me any information, obviously. And a lot of the information that he did give me on it, obviously I hold it in my pocket. I don't let anybody know that. But the stuff I can share, I wanted to come on the show today and to show some of you, especially any of you that have doubts or backpedaling or have someone that wants, even more proof that this is, real, that could our military even put something like this together? Do these things make sense? And so anytime information comes out that leans, that direction that I can share, I think it's important, especially during this time. We see a lot of people struggling right now. And so the first one I would pull up, Red, is the one that has the purple writing on the left of it.
The phases?
No, it's the it's got a paragraph or two on the right, and then it's got like a purple text on the left.
I got it. Okay, the overview.
Right. So read the purple section, or I can. It's up to you.
Yeah, the ability to share information in near real time anonymously and or securely is a capability that is both an asset and a potential vulnerability to us, our allies, and our adversaries. And then it gives this overview. What is the overview? The instruments of national power.
Well, Actually, I want to skip this one and go to the slide that's blue.
Okay.
Well, can you real quick say where you're getting this from? Because this is open source.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Got ahead of myself a little bit.
No worries.
So, you can find this information publicly on jcs.mil, and this document is labeled JP3_13.
JP3_13?
Correct. And, I think I mentioned in a Twitter post that I wanted to give some folks some homework, and this document is what I want you guys to look at on your own to see if you can find things out on your own and without us telling you. It's a good exercise. It's good homework, and that's where this is coming from.
Okay, so the next one is this one right here, Chapter 2, Information Operations? Or would it be Application of Information-Related Capabilities and Information Influence Relational Framework?
So, hold on, I'm waiting on the screen.
That's the one that's all blue. Well, while you're waiting on that, okay. Hannah BR12, thank you for that. Kaylee Ann, thank you for joining as a member. And Elder, thank you for that as well.
Okay, so the one that is all blue, I'll just do it from memory. So in the middle of the document, I think it mentions the
Joint Force Commander's objective: protect government of country from being overthrown.
You know what? Let me get this out here. Hold on a second. Pardon me. Y'all talk, do whatever. Let me pull it up on a separate area.
Yeah, because when we watch it on the screen, Red Pill, it's always delayed.
Right.
So if you're hopping through, I mean, unless you could just put them all on the screen and let them pick from it.
Well, I can only do one at a time, but I've got the blue one on screen right now. But yeah, I mean, if you've got it pulled up in Discord.
Yeah, I got it. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, so in the middle of the one that says application of information-related capabilities to the information and influence framework. So if you look in the middle, it says, in particular, Joint Force Commander's objective. And when I read these things, I want you to think about Q posts. And I want you to think about the things that have been said over the years from the Q team, and see if this stuff lines up with you. Okay? So it says, protect government of country X from being overthrown. Okay, so that's something that Q mentioned in the beginning, that the Democrats' 16-year plan, etc. So the desired effects. Citizens have confidence in ability of government to support and protect its people. Adversary is unable to overthrow government of country X. What are the potential target audiences? You have adversary leadership. You have the indigenous population, which would be us, friendly, neutral, and potential adversaries. So if you read through this in particular, I think it leans towards the beginning of the Q movement, or the beginning of the Q operation. Well, and go ahead.
I mean, it's like, we've said before that there's a lot of stuff in there that's talking directly to us, but then clearly there's a lot of messages that are pointedly addressing the other people, the people that we're, actively working against. And this kind of gets back to the idea that I've said before, that this is, a psyop. It's an information exchange for us, but then it's a psyop on those other people that we're working to dethrone, essentially, because, I mean, it gets in their heads. And like the example that, anytime something has been hinted at on, at a given date or a given time, the other side uses up all their ammunition because they think something's coming. And then once that ammunition has been spent, then, there is a public disclosure, there's something else that happens. And, it's like, it's burrowing into their minds, and it's a worm virus in their head.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, methods, if you wanted to talk about anything or make a comment, feel free.
Well, I mean, basically, this is to kind of break this down a little bit. We're talking about the process of doing an objective, and the objective that we're wanting to show is, imagine this as the 17 operation, right? The releasing of information, pointing people in the right direction, taking care of making sure the citizens have confidence. So that's why you could see a lot of things in like our favorite Anon's posts, supporting the president, pointing out how much the president loves us, even with the meme today about they're not after me, they're after you. That's the kind of thing. So what he's talking about here is how they would go about releasing this information in a public square like they have, because even though it is 8kun, 8chan, whatever, it's still public, and they have to keep secrets, but in turn they need to make sure that the information people are focusing on to create certain outcomes. In some cases, it's to get the opposite side to use ammunition. In other sides is to just keep us informed, to understand where things are going and where they have been. Is that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. Absolutely. Hey, Red, so go to the item that has the blue just at the top. That is from a movie.
Yep.
Talks about it.
Chapter 2, Information Operations.
Correct. So I wanted to point this out, and trust me, there's a lot more information in this document that I could go over, but we just don't have the time, which is going to be great homework for you guys. But we all know that our favorite Anon likes to talk about movies and refers to movies and that sort of thing. Well, in this actual document, which is really funny to me, they quote
Sneakers.
lines from movies. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was just saying they quote the film Sneakers.
Yeah, Sneakers.
Yeah.
So if you read it, it says there is a war out there, an old friend, a world war, and it's not about who's got the most bullets. It's about who controls the information. Now, when did we hear that? Didn't we hear that just recently? Information warfare.
Yeah. Yes, we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, it lines up perfectly. And I mean, I want to take it back real quick to the potential means available to achieve the commander's objective. We've got diplomatic actions. We've seen the inner workings of diplomacy between countries as far as forwarding our objectives, information, assets, strategic communication. That's exactly what we get in the posts. Also from the media, we've got certain people like John Solomon that is given information to release. Military forces, we've seen a buildup of our military across the entire globe. Economic resources, infusion of capital into country X. We're seeing that right now with these stimulus packages, and then also the pumping up of the stock market, just with what President Trump has been doing since he came in, and then commercial, cultural, and other private enterprise assets, which we see on both sides of the fence. We've got good and bad cultural assets that are hard at work all the time. But getting back to the information objective, it talks about phases, doesn't it? And that was the thing that's what stood out to me the most is that we've got these different phases that are discussed, and we've talked about phases specifically in the posts in terms of what's meant to happen at a given time. Phase 1, phase 2.
Real quick before you move on to that, I see some people in the chat talking about not being able to get to the website. One, I'm gonna ask Red Pill, will you add to the info under the video the link to this particular document? And sure. I'm going to go grab it. Actually, I'm going to get somebody to send it to me in Discord real quick to have it handy. I'll drop it in the chat a few times, but we basically wanted to talk about this as an overview, give you the link for you to go through if you're looking for something to dig into, understand, because we see the parallels of what this is talking about as far as information warfare in general and what's been going on with this movement. And I know it can kind of be overheads a little bit, but once you start reading and seeing the parallels, it starts to make a lot of sense. So that's why we wanted to bring this forward. But I will start dropping this link in the chat a bunch of times here in just a second.
And then, White Hat, what was the name of the document again when I'm on jcs.mil?
Yeah, so when you go into jcs.mil, the name of the document is actually JP3_13.
Got it.
Yeah. So next, I was going to go over exactly what you mentioned about the phases, the little chart there.
Okay.
The little plan phases.
Go for it, and I will get it pulled up. Here's the link, you guys, and I'll put it in the description of the video as well if you're not quick enough to grab it in the chat. Let's see.
Cool deal. So, just like Red Pill said, there's been posts here and there from our favorite Anon about phases and what phase we're in. And so I thought this was pretty interesting because to me, it really lined up. And I know Methods had eyeballed a couple of posts and he said, wow, that looks just like what they're saying. And I agreed with him. So if, we do a lot of hurry up to wait, we try to figure out, okay, what is the timing of all this? What does it look like in the eyes of, say, the Q team, for instance? Well, if you look at the phases here, you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0. So let's think about what phase 0 would have been. And it says theater shaping, global shaping. So I think about what the favorite Anon team, 17 team, in the beginning said, mentioned how they were preparing to possibly take over or take the reins away from, I guess, Barry or whoever was in, and then they decided to go ask Trump instead. And there's all these different things they've said about getting the nation prepared for all of this. This organization, from my understanding, the offensive part of this military arm started in 2014. So that lines up for me. Mm-hmm. So to me, that will be phase 0. All right. So phase 1, I think there's actually a Q post that talks about phase 1, or it mentions phase 1, and that's deterring or shaping activities. And I don't have the Q post, offhand, but this is a part of your homework. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to go through the Q post, and I want you to search the phases, and I want you to line them up with this chart and see if it makes sense to you.
Right, and our friend Tootsie Poo in the chat dropped which posts they are. Post 243, post 797, and post 2724. And we noticed that they kind of paralleled with the graphic that you just showed on the screen. Mm-hmm. And that graphic is in the links that we've been dropping in the chat for everybody, for you guys to have later. It's just a fascinating read type stuff. But with that said, like watching how these phases develop, the topics in those 17 posts and all that do fit in that wave of setting the stage, even with the, what did it say, theater, mm-hmm. setting the theater or something like that. Well, I mean, this is a movie, all that kind of stuff. You can kind of see how it goes, and it ramps up slowly, building up this information, kind of like how the movement's grown and the different things we've been covering. And then now that we're ready for that middle where you see most of that stuff going on, we are in that phase 3 part. I know even 17's mentioned that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it definitely lines up to me.
Yeah, I definitely look at, in particular, what I thought was pretty funny was the one that I guess he had targeted at Jack, or the team 17 team had mentioned Jack, and then I think in that same post there's a phase number. Mm-hmm. And I think it had to do with seizing, or it's either in deterring or seizing. But it to me, just like Method said, it all lines up. So if you want to get, if you want to kind of get an idea of the timing of how everything had to happen and the way things are going, this is a very good tool for you and something you can refer to on your own at any time.
Beautiful.
So yeah, go to the military deception, which is really cool.
And just to recap to the people, we're going over a military document that we've been dropping the links to that show the parallels of information warfare and going through an operation of making sure information gets used correctly in a public or cyber forum. So we're just dropping this link right now while we're going over it.
And let me just say thank you to Real Mr. Real Noodle. Gospels, Matthew and Luke were written based on the Gospel of Mark and lost text just called Q. It's going to be biblical, or is it already? Yeah, that's the Gospel of Q. I've heard of that before. Mark Mario, then that's for White Hat. Red Pill and Methods, I PayPal. Keep up the great work. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, we've got military deception on screen. Go ahead.
Awesome. All right, let me. Sorry, I was like living vicariously through you listening to the chat there.
One of the oldest IRCs. What is an IRC?
Oh Lord, you're gonna put me on the spot. Hold on.
Information.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me get down to it. I got my notes out and everything. I'm just like not really prepared.
Yeah, there's a lot of those in this whole document. You kind of have to have like a key ledger to be able to listen to, or read the sentence and understand it.
Right. So information related capability.
Okay. All right. Continue.
All right. So what is it? 17? Excuse me. 17 team mentions also that disinformation is important to the mission and to this op. And at this point, we all understand why that is. I mean, the 17 team even mentioned that possibly you have some bad guys watching 17 posts, and so this disinformation is key. Okay, so is that real? Is that something that our military operators? I mean, is that something that would be in the plan? Well, hey, look what we found: military deception. Mm-hmm. One of the oldest IRCs used to influence an adversary's perception can be characterized as actions executed to deliberately mislead adversary decision makers. Oh, you left the screen. Let me go back.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know you were reading off of that. I thought you had your notes pulled up.
Sorry.
It's all right. Okay, so yeah, disinformation is necessary, essentially.
Yeah, so if you read this, this section, it certainly leans to that, and it's important to put it in context of the 17 posts. So I mean, there's a lot more there, and I can't express that enough. There's a lot more there in these documents and on that website. And certainly this isn't trying to identify anybody in the 17 team or anything like that. What this is a great resource for anyone who is just, trying to find out, is this real? Is this something that we could really do? Is this, am I going crazy here? I mean, because all this stuff is so cool and it makes sense. And I pray and hope that it's real. Well, you know what? Look at this stuff. This is documents from a military website. Okay. And it lines up. If you want to red pill somebody, if you want to, work on your own faith in the plan, or if you want to just, say to yourself, hey, you know what, is this real? Is this, you're kind of on the fence. This is some proof right here. This is what we call sauce. This is real stuff, you guys. And I really implore you to go research this and look for yourself and line it up and see what you think.
I mean, it's absolutely lining up with everything that's taken place, and this is perfect for anybody who has had any hesitation or lack of faith in what's been taking place, or wondering why it's going a certain way. Military deception is designed to cause them to behave in a manner advantageous to the friendly mission, such as misallocation of resources, attacking at a time and place advantageous to friendly forces, or avoid taking action at all. Think about how many times throughout the course of the last several years we have seen the other side do exactly that. These people are stupid. So easy to mold and form into doing exactly what the team wanted them to do every single time. It's incredible to see it written in black and white.
Yeah. Hey guys. So I just saw a comment in the comment there that said, "Does this guy even know anything?" Well, listen. I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm on the Fed side. I'm not on the DoD side. So some of this stuff is not exactly going to be my language here. So I apologize if I'm stumbling over some of this, but it was just something I pulled together last night.
Well, we appreciate it either way. Let's see. Mark Mario, thank you again. Rockin' Robin says, look into Garrett Soldano, please. He started a MI Michigan protest movement and didn't even go to Op Gridlock. Agent, political platform, book deal, bad feeling. Okay. Garrett Soldano, I'll look into it. I mean, we know that that's something that they do. They'll put in agents designed to draw attention away from whatever the organic thing is, and then they can take it over. It happens quite a lot. Everybody keeps saying internet relay chat, which is hilarious because I've been on the internet long enough. I know what IRC is as well. And do people still use IRC? Is that a thing?
The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days, man. Yeah, jump into with that little flower. That's how long it's been on the internet a long time. So White Hat, regardless of whether or not this is your expertise, I appreciate you having taken the time to go through and find it and bring us the information, because I think that this is a great explainer for people who are, wondering, like, what is the logic of doing things the way that they're doing it. I mean, these people are military intelligence, I mean, they have a specific method for bringing stuff like this together and putting it into action. And, that's why, knowing that's why I haven't, really second guessed or questioned anything that I see, because, we've got the greatest military in the world. These people are, they're pretty solid. And I think that, I can't remember if you told that part of the story that you told us. I mean, you mentioned Admiral Rogers, but I mean, was there anything else to that you had wanted to say about Admiral Rogers?
Well, I mean, I'll just, without giving too much detail, I mean, I was pretty much given a timeline for when he came in and when he did the things that he did. It was a pretty cool conversation that I had, and I don't want to, speak too much as far as details, but it was legit to me because I was able to look at the guy's credentials. And so, when he pointed me to this and he explained to me that, the idea that we're talking about is called the offensive. And so that began in 2014, according to him. And so this lines up, I believe this document is 2014, if I'm not mistaken. But the cyber on the military side, the cyber command, I think all of that really ramped up in 2008. If I'm not mistaken, when because it was just a huge boom in all the cybersecurity world, and then in 2014 that's when they expanded and did the offensive side versus the defensive side, and the Navy and the Army are the same way, and on the offensive side that encompasses other agencies. So it's a really cool thing. It was a really cool conversation, and I really appreciated it. And but as far as the the documentation, I just felt like it was real important to share.
Well, I have to agree. I definitely agree. God's Daughter said, "Thank you, White Hat. You're the man." Supermax1234 says, if POTUS is a wartime president, then he could do the Nasara Act. Read Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917. I believe we've talked about that on here before, the Trading with the Enemy Act. Gino says, 17 team understands that the left uses emotional thinking and conservatives use critical thinking. That would explain why the team uses disinformation and psyops. Shannon Reeves says, well, I for one appreciate the information. Can't wait to dig in. Thank you, White Hat. Awesome. Yeah, definitely appreciate you bringing it to us, dude. Methods, did you have anything else that you wanted to add on this?
Well, I mean, we basically covered it. The idea was to show a couple different points from it that, resonated with us, like put on your favorite Anon, glasses and read these documents and stuff that we've dropped in the PDF and see what they were trying to build with having this information out there, right? Like the way that it needs to be presented, the way that it gets the public to do certain things, like when our favorite Anon points us towards a certain part, like the Jack tweet's a great example, from, over a decade ago. It got flooded and brought back, and it got brought back into the conscience of everybody on the platform now. So a lot of people that didn't know about that tweet now know about it, and they've got questions to ask, and then they see all the information we tied to it. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. And all it took was one post by our favorite Anon, and then it went like wildfire. That's what we're talking about here. It's the controlling of the information in whatever direction that it needs to happen for certain things to occur. And then, of course, obviously, Jack would know that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're monitoring him to see what was his reaction to the fact that that's getting brought up. All this stuff is getting brought up a lot. A lot of this more darker stuff that we talk about, it's your choice to know. It's kind of going in that direction. But yeah, you get my point. We wanted to give you this information so where you can research it for yourselves and see what you can find, see what resonates with you. Tag, I'll drop White Hat's Twitter in the chat again, so you guys can have it. Tag him in it. He would love to see what you find, have a good discussion about it. But no, I for one find it fascinating.
I completely agree, for sure. Well, White Hat, I saw somebody say something in the chat. Thanks for being one of the good guys in government and helping us find this information and put it together. Obviously, the more people that understand the nature of this operation, I think the easier it will be for people to be comfortable with the rhythm and the cadence of it. So, yeah, definitely I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for the kind words. That's awesome. But, I tell you something interesting.
Please.
Most government folks like me, there's a bunch of us out there. We're all pretty nice. So, I mean, I know that there's some bad apples out there, and what? Believe me, I wish I could run into them in a back alley somewhere and handle them. But there are a lot of good guys out there and good girls. I promise.
I have to agree. All right. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you being here. Anything that we want to leave the audience with?
Well, let's go ahead and cover what we got going on this weekend. I mean, I can bring up, we'll go ahead with your Friday, Saturday, and then I'll bring up Sunday.
Yes. Let me just get my calendar put up. Tonight is my friend Darren Geisinger. He is a Christian author, and he's written an incredible science fiction book that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about aspects of the science fiction world as it relates to Christianity. So I think that that's going to be really cool. And then tomorrow night, Juanita Broderick is going to be on the show. Juanita Broderick should require no introduction. You guys know who she was. She wrote a book about her experience with former governor and president of the United States, Slick Willie Clinton. So we're going to hear all about that. And then on Sunday, it's Table of Titans Day, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to have those crazy boys from Table of Titans, our doctor, Space Shot, and Hulkinator. We're going to all be hanging out for the full 2 hours of us five just barking at each other, having intellectual conversations like we always do. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to this one, a night with the boys, right?
Yep, for sure. I am too.
And White Hat, thanks for joining us, man, for sure. I'm glad that you were here.
Yeah, brother,
hey, thank y'all for the invite. And just want to remind everybody, hey, Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay, not my team.
Shannon Reeves said, well, I for one appreciate the information. Can't wait to dig in. Thank you, White Hat. And Baby Love 78 says, White Hat, your intelligence is awesome and your accent rocks. I have to agree 100%. All right, guys. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. I appreciate it. We will see you tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Darren Geisinger. And then, as always, tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Juanita Broderick. So hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. Methods and White Hat, I appreciate you both so much. Good luck and God bless, everyone.